Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I'll be going over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. It looks like there is a reseller or resellers that have been packaging up muOS for distribution and charging for it. Now, I actually was not aware of this. I'm usually pretty good at finding things like this on a reseller's website, so I do wonder where or who or what is doing this. But either way, muOS is not happy about it, and they have every right not to be happy about it. Long story short, having somebody sell your free software is not great because it's your software. You made it. And having somebody charge for that money should be going to you. And they are doing it for free for a reason. Now, they do have a Patreon, and you can get involved with the development process and have early builds and all that sort of thing. But the final result, the public build, is free. And so we have companies charging for it. And this is not the first time this has happened. Resellers have been charging for Onion OS, for Surwitch, whatever cross mix they want to call it over there, other operating systems, ArcOS, that sort of thing, for a while now. And I don't know if those developers have been happy with it or not. This is the first kind of public note that I've seen. Pretty sure Crossmix was not happy with it, from what I remember. But I don't know what the solution is here either. I don't know what we can do to combat this. I don't know how we stop this beyond not buying from a reseller that does it. And I get it. I mean, Go Game Geek does it too. NXT does it. They all do it. And so I don't know what the answer is here. I don't know how we stop it, but I don't like it either. It's definitely not, as you can tell from muOS's words and everything, like it's not cool. It's not something that should be done. You shouldn't be charging for somebody else's work. So long story short, that's what the news is happening here with muOS. And I guess we'll see if they back down on the reseller end or if not. And I don't know what the next steps are. Artemis, the Moonlight replacement on Android, just got an update. Now it's some fixes for Android TV, and there is something about a sticky modifier key applying a custom on-screen keyboard. I have no idea what that is. But there is also support for custom refresh rates and fractional refresh rates, which is awesome, and you can customize your bit rate on mobile data as well. You can do this all from Artemis. There are some other changes below, and something about remapping the physical back button on devices that have it as a guide. Now, I've been personally bummed out that my physical back button doesn't open up the Artemis menu inside of Artemis. You have to swipe up and click the back arrow for it to do that. I would love for that to be able to be something that works, but it seems like the back button is supposed to work as a guide button here. Anyways, update if you haven't. Emulation Station version 3.2 is out now, and it brings some changes like on-screen system status indicators for Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and so on, more systems and more support for more emulators and all of that sort of thing. It actually apparently supports PS4 now with Shad PS4, which is crazy. Still no native Android app support for Android, and so I'm still not switching over to it yet. I still use Daigisho on Android for now, but I think if Emulation Station actually does get Android app support, I'll switch over. I've seen a lot of people sharing information about psretrox, which is a project around decompiling PS2 games, and you should be aware that there has been no work done in 5 months on it, and the developer even said that the project is sort of paused for the moment. Long story short, there is no actual news here, but I wanted to save you a click because I saw this getting pushed around everywhere. And you just had to dig a little bit deeper to find out that, no, it's not really a real project at the moment, but it would be cool if somebody would take it up and continue it on. That would be awesome. Just as a side note and tangentially related here, but the amount of misinformation from like headlines only is insane. I don't know if you guys I have to go down these rabbit holes for the tariffs. I have to go down these rabbit holes for my news segments, all of that. And the headlines rarely ever match what is actually said in the article. And it's such a disaster. Or there's misinformation everywhere. Be careful out there. Don't just read the headlines. Read the articles and find the sources and then dig deep. File this under things that might never happen, but I'm excited to see it even talked about. XEMU, the Xbox emulator for PC, could possibly get Retro Achievements if the developer gets help implementing it through a plugin or some other way. Basically, he's open to the idea. He will help make it happen. He just doesn't want to have to put in the work to do it himself. It's a lot of work. So he said if a plugin could be developed to work with his program, then he'll go with it and help the person that's doing it. That is awesome news, but I don't know if it's great news yet. We'll find out if anybody takes him up on that and actually develops Retro Achievements for Xbox games, which would be cool. And oh no, we are not done with the Retro Achievements rumors. You might have noticed that there is a certain open GitHub issue on Azahar's GitHub by yours truly, who asked them to maybe look at Retro Achievement support for 3DS, since that's what their emulator is. And there's been no information since I opened up that thread, some back and forth, all that sort of thing. But as of a few weeks ago, the lead developer, Pablo, self-assigned the Retro Achievements thing to him. Now, this could mean nothing. I'm reaching here, obviously. But it does mean he at least has it on his task list somewhere to look at or is looking at it, which, I mean, that's all I need. That's you got me excited now. This would take like a year and a half to get fully implemented and actually supported by Retro Achievements, all that sort of thing. It would not be anything soon. But the fact that somebody is looking at it, that's all I need. My hope is there. Full hopium right now. Listen, in today's world, I will take the wins where I will get them. Question of the week. And this was actually sent to me as a question for myself, but I thought it would be a great question for all of you to answer. So this comes in from Y'allspark, so thank you to him. If you had to play one mainline franchise for the rest of your life, what franchise would you pick? And he said, Fire Emblem? ? No, it wouldn't be Fire Emblem for me. It would definitely be Pokemon. That would be my number one mainline games that I would pick, series, franchise. There is way too much in Pokemon for me to say it wouldn't be them. I could play that forever. Even just the mainline games. It would be more than enough for me. Now, if you could extend that to ROM hacks, I would last for, like, my entire life would be fine. I could sit here and play ROM hacks and Pokemon games for the rest of my life. I'd be happy. But I'm curious. Let me know in the comments, what is your game? What is your, series, I guess. What is the series that you would play, one series, for your entire life if you had to pick one? Jumping over into device news now, and Switch 2 pre-orders are delayed in Canada and the US, with the release date still being June 5th. I'm so very glad that us Canadians were roped into the US shenanigans here, because I was so excited to pre-order my Switch 2, and I had it in my calendar and everything. Then I saw this news, and I instantly got very mad. But it seems like, or I'm guessing, because of our proximity, shipments are probably tied together. I don't know if shipments start in the US and then they get shipped out to different parts of Canada, or if they make their way through the US to Canada. And I don't know what our issue is here. It's obviously a Nintendo of America sort of scenario where it covers both. And so we are tied together, unfortunately. I don't think our price will change with yours if that actually happens. I know the tariffs changed now so that I think Vietnam is in the clear. China is not, so they can still make them in Vietnam and be okay for now. This is a long sort of scenario. The long and the short of it is we're tied together. And as of right now, pre-orders are delayed until Nintendo is happy enough with whatever's going on to open them up again. But I'm hoping that will be soon because I just want to get my pre-order in and never worry about it again. If it ends up being an NVIDIA situation again, where I have to wake up every morning to try and catch a drop, can be very, very mad. So let's hope that this gets fixed pretty soon. Retroid released a video showing off all of the colors of the Retroid Pocket Classic, and it compared them to its inspirations. Now, I think all of them actually look really good to me, except for that atomic purple. That is atrocious. Absolutely not. And I'm sorry for anybody that likes that purple, but to me, that is a big no-no. Now, we did also get a look at what 4x3 systems might look like on this device, and they did show off Saturn, which is, of course, using frame skip as expected, so we don't really know how Saturn's going to play. But I have to say, those black bars, you know what? Maybe they should center the picture and then just cover those black bars with the shell of the device. So hold on, I'm cooking here, so that we would actually have a real 4x3 screen. Imagine it. Instead of black bars, you just cover it with the shell of the device, and then it's actually a 4x3 screen and nobody would know. You know? You get it? You with me? Okay, before I get angry comments, because apparently I have to tell people the joke here, it's a joke about the Retroid Pocket Mini. In case you are not following, there's a joke about that and what they did there. It ruins the joke when I have to explain it. Now, honestly, for me personally, I would just center the image and I don't care about the black bars on the top and bottom. It doesn't matter to me. It's going to happen on the left and the right too for other systems. So it's not a big deal. It was funny to see the big black bar and I knew instantly what people were going to say. Now, it is great for us to finally get actual pictures here, even though it is like a week before they start shipping. But either way, it is still good to see. Otherwise, I do not have my review unit yet. I have no indication of it shipping. I have no information, nothing, but I also didn't get information about the Flip 2 either. So if it's going to ship this weekend, then great. If it's not, then I probably will not have anything up for ship date. So you probably won't have a review by the time this ships, and that's not a great thing either. I don't know what else to say, but I hope that they nailed it here, because otherwise we're not going to have reviews out in time. We're not going to have first impressions out in time for you to cancel your pre-order in case everything's broken. So that brings me to Retroid's announcement of shipments, and the Flip 2 will start on April 13th, and the Classic will start on April 16th, and their goal is to have all pre-orders shipped before May 2nd to avoid tariffs. Now, there has been something floating around from DHL, and I did read it, where the tariffs apply as of the shipping time. So if they ship it out anywhere before May 2nd, whatever tariffs apply, which is nothing at this point, would be fine for you. However, the weird wording about that is they are talking about tariffs. They're not talking about the actual de minimis exemption. That exemption, the $800 US and below, is not confirmed that I could find to not apply if your handheld isn't in your hands before May 2nd. Or sorry, after, I guess. Either way, the long and the short of it is that I could not find confirmation that when that exemption is removed on May 2nd, that it will not apply to any shipments that arrive after that and were shipped before that. So long answer is, I would not count on it not getting charged fees or duties or anything or tariffs. So it's an up in the air sort of situation here, but at least they are trying to get them out before May 2nd. I just have a feeling that anybody that gets it shipped like May 1st, April 30th, and it arrives after May 2nd might have some trouble. Now, I have long since said Retroid releases and rushes every single one of their releases and launches. This is no different. It is actually a lot worse. It is weird here because they somehow are able to get all of the pre-orders done in 2 weeks, whereas other devices, they were never able to do that. That leads me to believe they are rushing production, they are rushing shipping, they're rushing a lot of things. And if I was not needing a retail unit of the GC that I pre-ordered and the Pokemon Yellow that I pre-ordered from the Classic, I would have canceled my order by now out of fear for that first batch. Personally, that is my personal thoughts, because I do not want to be in that first batch for sure. It is a risk. And so it's not something I'm willing to take as a consumer, but I have to take as a reviewer because they didn't send me a review unit. That is a retail unit. They sent me engineering sample unit. They sent all reviewers an engineering sample unit. So basically I have to be in this first batch. But anyways, long story short, it seems like they're rushing here, and that worries me a little bit. The Anbernic RG557 was announced and it was shown by Anbernic in a video. All jokes about me calling the Anbernic RG556 the best handheld of 2024 aside, I really just don't feel anything at all for this release. And yes, I've already apologized for that video. Don't get on my case. I'm aware. The RG556 was definitely a good handheld. It was held back by an awful Wi-Fi chip, awful sticks, and not a really good processor in my mind, but it excelled with the nice OLED screen. It had the most comfortable, it was most comfortable handheld to me still to this day. It is very, very comfortable. At least the blue version with that textured grips and all that sort of thing. It was nice and rubbery. I really enjoyed the comfort on that device. But of course, naturally, they removed the blue color, the one color that I really liked, and they replaced it with a purple. So, of course, when I like something, they just stop doing it. Where is my 405M replacement? Now, they didn't share specs in this video beyond the screen being the exact same screen and that there is new capacitive touch sticks. That wasn't in the video, it was shared elsewhere. So it looks like it's going to be new sticks here. And also, there's a rumor that is going to include a Dimensity 830 or 8300 inside of it, which, okay, I don't know. I'm not excited about Dimensity at all. It's hard to get excited about that when everything is swimming in Snapdragons nowadays. Now, if I had to guess the price, it would probably be low 200s. The 556 is 185 US dollars. This can't come in lower than that if they're still going to sell that. So yeah, 200 at least for this. Is it worth 200? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're excited about this or not. I think a lot of people are just excited for Anbernic to come back, but are you excited for this specific product is my question. Now, I don't mean this so negatively, even though it does come out negative, but for me to understand who the target is for this device, you would have to have ignored the Odin 2, the Odin 2 Portal, the Pocket Evo, the Retroid Pocket 5, the Retroid Pocket Mini, the Retroid Pocket Flip 2, the iNeo Pocket S, all of these devices that are shipping with Snapdragons or whatever and have come out and are more powerful than this and have OLED screens in some scenarios or all that sort of thing. Basically, I am wondering if this is low 200s, who is the target for this that somehow said no to every other device that is better than this that they could have had this entire time? Like, is there somebody that's been waiting for this device specifically? And I want to know why. Because if it is just a stick upgrade, that's great. If it is just a Dimensity upgrade, which, okay, sure. I mean, move away from MediaTek, please, but still. What does this have over other options that makes you excited, I guess? And this is coming from me. I actually really like the 556 for the most part. The awful Wi-Fi chip, the fact that it can't do GeForce Now, the fact that it has problems with other Android games not being recognized by the controller, all of those sorts of things. I don't know if it will be fixed here. So it worries me. But also I still come at things from like a buy once, cry once perspective, because that's how I live. And it's still like, I could buy the 556, I could buy the 557, I could buy the 558, and it still wouldn't be as good as an Odin 2 Portal. So why would I buy that? That's kind of how I see it, and I know not everybody's going to see it this way, and things cost more money. The Odin 2 Portal is not cheap, obviously. It's more expensive. But that's kind of how I see it. It's like I'll take the bigger hit up front to avoid the longer hit, because I could enjoy a better device for longer, instead of having to buy the 556, buy the 557, buy the 558, and it's still not as good as the device that came out a year or two ago. That's kind of how I look at things like this. Anyways, this is coming off as more negative than I'm expecting. The 557, I hope, is good. Upgrading the sticks is a great thing. It should cover a lot of bases for a lot of people. I just think anything over $200 defeats the purpose of where the 557 has a lead or has a way to outrank other competitors, because then you just fight with other devices that are much better than what Anbernic can do in the high end. Reminder again that April's game of the month is The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, and I actually did finish this game this week. It is still a great game. I am very angry because I did all of the figurines, but I'm trying to do all of the fusions, and I'm missing one fusion, and I cannot find it for the life of me, and so I had to give up. I was this close to like 100%ing the game and getting all the retro achievements. I thought it was fun to do, so I did it, until I missed one fusion, and I don't know where it is, so I'm giving up on my hopes and dreams for this game. Now, our ROM hack of the month is Fire Emblem: The Last Promise, and I'm currently in Chapter 7 or 8. That is a fun game. It is not too difficult. It is enjoyable. You can play it without any experience in Fire Emblem, and it's just fun. It's a nice little ROM hack. But also, we did introduce a new game of the season, and Suikoden won for Game of the Season. This is a game that's going to run from April to the end of June, so we're going to do seasons sort of thing. And I've never played Suikoden. It is super fun. I didn't know that it was this good. I like that you can use a whole whack of different characters. I've been recruiting everybody I can. I like the actual battle system, it is super fun. I am enjoying Suikoden. It is a very fun game so far. I am using a guide to get through it, but this is a fun RPG. I'm glad that this won for Game of the Season. It is super fun. And so we are going to combine what am I playing into this segment. And there's one other game that has taken me by storm, and is Super Mariomon. And oh boy, okay, if you have not heard of this game, it is Pokemon, but Mario World, I can't speak. Mario World inspired. So you are playing as Mario. Your rival is Luigi. You are going through worlds, as in actual Mario worlds. There is like up to 8 worlds here. And you go through, there are pipes that send you to different places. There is, all of the characters are the Pokemon. So you're capturing, it's called capturing. You're capturing like Goombas and Bombettes and Bombs and Pokies, everything, all of the Mario characters, and you are fighting and battling, and gym leaders are giving you stars, power stars, and it is so great. The actual aesthetics of everything is Mario inspired. If you were to tell me that Nintendo made this game, I would believe you. That is how good this is. It is so much fun. So, long story short, if you are looking for a single game to play this week, Super Mariomon, it is a ROM hack. It has Retroachievements. It is fantastic. I am just engrossed with it right now. It is so much fun. Okay, so let's get into some Q&A. Newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com is the email address. Or you could come join the Discord, and there is a Newscast Q&A channel. You can send in your questions through there or through the email. It's up to you. First question comes in from Vera Gray. What were your childhood gaming systems? What do you have the most nostalgia for? I had a lot of Nintendo things growing up. Up until the Xbox 360, I had no PlayStation. I had a PlayStation 1, modded PlayStation 1, Slim. Actually, I had the original, and then I had the Slim. And then I had no PlayStation 2, had no PlayStation 3 until the end of its life. And then I got the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, all that sort of thing. Didn't have a Vita, didn't have a PSP. So long story short, I was a Nintendo guy. All Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boys, all the Nintendo DS's, Nintendo 64, GameCube. I did not have the Wii, surprisingly, all that sort of thing. And I think what I have most nostalgia for is Nintendo 64, for sure. Vivid memories playing that during Christmas and getting like Zelda at Christmas, and then playing that and calling up a friend on Christmas Day, bothering them and being like, how do I get past this part in Zelda? But also my Game Boy. I played a ton of Super Mario 6 Golden Coins, Pokemon Blue, as vivid memories of Pokemon Blue. So yeah, definitely Game Boy and Nintendo 64, and nostalgic memories all around for both of those systems. This question comes in from Super Bottle. What was your biggest surprise and disappointment when reviewing or testing these devices? This is a hard question because I don't know if I have an actual answer to this. Honestly, most of my disappointment with reviewing these devices isn't even related to the devices. It's external factors that I'm not going to get into so much. But I think I guessed, or I expected manufacturers to communicate more with reviewers and that sort of thing. Like, prime example, I got my Flip 2. I was sent no information about it. I only found out I got it because of a DHL shipping notice. I wasn't told it was an engineering sample. I wasn't told what's wrong with it. I even asked when I found out after, hey, can you tell me what is not final? Crickets. So like that sort of thing, the lack of information and the lack of responding, I guess, when you send feedback. And this isn't everybody at all. Like, I'm going to use AYN as an example because they are great at it. AYN will tell me ahead of time, hey, this is not finished. This part is not finished. We are aware of it. It is being worked on. It will be fixed. You should know about this for the review, all that sort of thing. And then they will ask me, what did you find? All that sort of thing. And then I will send them information and feedback, and they will actually fix it for future patches and all of that sort of thing. Now, they aren't perfect. Sometimes they won't do it, all that, but they are the most communicative out of any of our retro handhelds manufacturers. Then you get into like Lenovo and Asus and all of them, and they are very good. They will have a meet and greet with you beforehand. They will talk to you about what's going on, all that sort of thing. But in our retro handheld space, Anbernic, Retroid to me, and Powkitty doesn't exist, miu doesn't exist. All these companies, they don't, none of it, zero. And zero information, zero talking, zero anything about what's going on. And so that part, I think, is the most disappointing because it just gives off an air of like, well, we just don't care. We're just going to do whatever we do. And you can review it and you can say bad things and we won't send you things ever again. But like, we don't really care about what you say. That's kind of how I feel. But when I talk about external factors here, I kind of mean like, again, I'm going to use this example because I used it before. Everybody points to like Gamers Nexus. They're like, we want a Gamers Nexus person in this hobby. But they don't realize that if you'd had that person, you would see all sorts of problems with screen refresh rate, with the software, with the headphone jacks, with the actual screen issues, with actual manufacturing issues, all of that. No handheld would pass. It would all be negative. And so if you think I'm negative, if you had that sort of person, it would be even worse. But the community creates the reviewer. That's firmly what I believe. And as of right now, you want a Gamers Nexus type person, but Gamers Nexus doesn't exist in a bubble, right? Like if you go and look at game or graphics card reviews, go look at like the 5070 Ti, 5070, whatever. Go look and pull up multiple different reviews. Pull up Gamers Nexus, Linus Tech Tips, Hardware Unboxed, J2 Cents, all of those people. Bring them all up. I want to ask a question. Were they consistent in everything they said across each review? Each of their thumbnails, each of their titles, each of their videos, did it have the same sort of purpose? And the answer is, for the most part, yes. 5070 Ti, for example, every single one of them shit on it quite a bit. Now, translate that to our hobby. The miu Flip, were we consistent in our messaging across all reviewers? Other devices that had problems, the Gameforce Ace, were we consistent in our messaging across reviewers? The miu A30, were we consistent with our messaging across reviewers? The answer is no. So if we can't even as a community agree on what devices are not worth the purchase, then how do you expect to create a reviewer that will do that for you? Because what's going to happen is you get told that you're a hater, you get told that, oh, you're just doing this because you want clicks and clickbait and all that sort of thing. And no, the answer is you don't gain more from a negative review. But the real answer is until the community can agree upon things in this hobby that are not worth the money, you will not see reviewers do so. So again, going back, the community creates the reviewer. And so if you want better reviewers, be better as a community. And I'm not blaming the community for this. I think you understand what I mean. We can't agree on things as a community when things are wrong. So until we get to that consensus, nothing's really going to change. And I think that's probably my biggest disappointment here, coming in as somebody who has opinions that go against the grain a lot of times, or has videos that go real hard on devices because they waste my money, that I was expecting more. I was expecting that to spread to other parts of the hobby. And I mean, I'm growing, so it is working, but it is hard when I see people be like, well, I mean, he's not technical. He's not Gamers Nexus and all that sort of thing. And I'm not trying to be, and I will never be, but also like this hobby doesn't support that type of reviewer yet. That's how I feel. I think I rambled on with this question, so I apologize. I don't even remember what the initial question was, so sorry about that. This question comes in from Matt Davis. How dependent are you on the American market for your YouTube channel? And if the tariffs go through and severely impact Americans, how will it impact the channel? And would you consider changing to something outside of retro handhelds or going back to a 9-to-5 job and stopping all of this? I kind of paraphrased a little bit. Matt made it a little bit longer, but the gist of the question is that. And so thank you, Matt, for the question. But for those that don't know, I am full-time YouTube. I have been full-time YouTube for a year and a half now, almost 2 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. And so for me, my demographics, the 37% of it is USA. It's the biggest part of it. And advertiser payments, all that sort of thing, it is definitely the US that is the biggest. So yeah, if the US stops getting handhelds, if they stop purchasing handhelds, if they stop watching videos, then it directly affects me, of course. I am in a different position. I am kind of like semi-retired doing this, and it's sort of for fun, even though it still pays the bills, all that sort of thing. It isn't like I'm not too worried about it. Like I could go do whatever else I want. Um, but I don't know what the answer is here. If things were to go bad, would I stop doing this? Um, Part of me wants to say I probably would, if it didn't make sense anymore and like everything was just tits up, I guess. But then part of me is like, if I leave the hobby, then like who is replacing me as the sole voice? And that's my ego seeping through. But I don't know. And would I do something else? I've always made the joke about Joey's fantasy books because I read more than I play games. I don't know if a lot of people know that. I read a ton of books, and so that's always been a joke of mine, but I think I kind of want to keep that as like a hobby, a personal thing. I don't want to monetize that part of my life. So I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if I would swap to like showcasing games and all of that. I honestly, it's a great question that I've been thinking about and I've talked about with my wife, and I don't know what the answer is yet. So play it by ear, I guess. But right now, I kind of just want to do this, and I like doing it. And if external factors force me off of it, then that's a tough pill to swallow. But again, I'm not. I don't need the money as much as people might think, and I can kind of do whatever I want at this point. So we'll see. I'm flexible. This question comes in from Y'all Spark, and do content creators have to pay import fees on review units? The answer is sometimes. I have had to pay DHL fees and other fees actually from UPS on different shipments for review units. And I've never said anything to the companies. I mean, it's a review unit. I'm already getting it for free, so I don't care about paying those duties and taxes or whatever. But it's very rare. It doesn't happen a lot. It hasn't happened for a while that I can remember. I think back when like Anbernic used to send me things, it used to be consistent with them. And yeah, but it hasn't happened for a while. So the long answer or the short answer is yeah, we do pay them occasionally, but it doesn't happen often. Last question of the day. This comes in from Joyboy. I've never said that out loud, Joyboy. Do you think companies should make the quality of a device worse to hit a lower price tag? I don't think they should make the quality worse. I think they should think more about the device's use case and then designing around that. So, perfect example, the Retroid Pocket Micro has a great screen that they ruined with every other part of the Retroid Pocket Micro. Look, I get it. They were offering or going for a premium Game Boy Advance experience. And as somebody who loves the Analog Pocket, I am fully in your camp in understanding that sort of use case or scenario. However, putting sticks on it, wrong thing. The location of the buttons, wrong thing. The battery life, the wrong thing. The software, the battery saving mode, not actually being able to play Game Boy Advance, that's the wrong thing. All these sorts of things that like they could look at and do and make to have a better experience. When the experience is you just want to play Game Boy Advance, you can start to make things sound or look better. And like that to me is what I mean. Like, and I'm picking on iNeo, but like this goes to other devices too. GPD's Win Mini, for example. They have a Win Mini, they have a whole chassis, they have all of that. Why not look at making that an Android device? You have it, you've made it. Why not see if you can make a lower cost device that runs Android? Because guess what? If the tariffs go through, GPD, iNeo, 1X Player, Aoki Zoe, all these companies that sell for over $800 are in very big trouble. So they are going to have to look at the lower end market. iNeo already started this about a year ago. Other companies are going to have to do it too. So I don't think it's a lower quality thing that they have to do for lower price points. I think they have to go and look at the market, look at what doesn't exist, or look at what they want to make, and then make sure that the rest of the parts around it actually support what they are trying to envision. And I just feel like companies fail at that. I feel like they come up with a great screen or a great processor, that sort of thing, and then fail at the rest of the parts around the device. if they put a little bit of effort into it, it would be a hit. It would be something great. Because we could look at the opposite scenario too with like an RG Arc, for example, where they did not use the right processor and so it didn't sell as well as it could have. And they'll probably blame the RG Arc and say, we'll never make one again because it didn't sell well. But like, you didn't make it properly. So like, what do you expect from us? We're not going to buy it just because you made it. We want to buy it because it hits a certain niche or it solves a certain problem. And that's kind of what I mean here. And I'm kind of ranting again or rambling again, but that's kind of how I see it. It's more of a design issue. It's more of a go back to the drawing board and think about what you're doing first. That is all we have this week. So again, email newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com or come join the Discord. You can send in your questions through the Newscast channel there. Otherwise, appreciate you all for watching, and that's all from me, Monkey's Eyebrow, Kentucky.